The question is, how do you get funding for an idea that doesn't exist yet? So what you can do is you can actually go to, this is a cheap way to do it, you can go to fiverr.com, that's Fiverr.com, and pay somebody there to create a wireframe prototype if you want, if you're comfortable with other people seeing your intellectual property. And you can always go to LegalZoom.com and speak with a copyright and patent lawyer to patent the idea first. So once you get the wireframing done, you can put that in your slide deck. And you can take my course called the Complete Business Plan course, because that course will actually help you to create a 10-page PowerPoint presentation, which will list everything that every investor needs to see and wants to see. Okay, that course will help you create a 50 to 100-page business plan as well. So take that course. I promise you, it'll help you out tremendously in terms of getting money for your idea. And I don't want you to use much of your own money at all, please. Okay, please. I don't want you to put your family in jeopardy. I don't want you to get a loan because banks are chicken. And if you're one day late, what happens is sometimes banks will come after your house. And I want you to register your own company name first as an LLC or a different legal structure. Talk to a real lawyer. I'm not a real lawyer. And in terms of getting early stage investments, I want you to use the networking methodologies I talk about in this book to get meetings with high net worth investors that have something in common with you and get them to invest. I don't want you to talk to venture capital firms initially, because venture capital firms quite often are larger and it can take 3 to 6 months and many internal bureaucratic meetings before they decide not to invest in your idea. A high net worth investor, and this goes for all business in general, doesn't matter what product you're selling, but high net worth investors, the sales cycle is a lot shorter. Okay, it's just them deciding. They can decide on the spot even. So take my course, the Complete Business Plan course. That will help you out tremendously, I humbly think, when it comes to creating your minimum viable product. The last thing I'm going to say about creating an MVP or minimum viable product is I met this guy at Kleiner Perkins. So Kleiner Perkins is a great venture capital firm here in the Bay Area. I partnered with them many times in the past when I worked full-time venture capital. I met a guy there named Randy Komisar. And Randy Komisar told me how and why he invested in a startup called Nest, which eventually Google bought for $3.5 billion. They bought it for the people, not only for the product. So I talked to Randy and I said, how did you know? Like when they came and they pitched the idea to you of Nest. And for those of you not familiar with Nest, it's a circular thermostat thing you can put in your house to control the heat or the air conditioning. And I use my app here to do it to make sure that the house is cool. I asked Randy, how did you know to invest in that company? And he said, well, Chris, the entrepreneurs were amazing first and foremost. I always invest in great people. And I said, well, what did the product look like when they brought it? And he said, they didn't have a product. They brought this round piece of wood. And they said, this is what the Nest is going to look like. That was sort of their pre-MVP or PMVP, I don't even know if that's a term, product. And obviously it did incredibly well. Kleiner made a lot of money selling the company to Google for over $3 billion. But Randy, brings up a great point, and he's a rock star here in Silicon Valley. Randy Komisar, said that you want to invest in great people first, and then obviously great ideas second. So it all comes to the people. And so last thing I'll say actually about this is when you go to meet with investors, a lot of times they're not investing in your idea, they're investing in you. Do they get excited by you when they see when they hear you pitch your product? And the reason it's so important for them to feel comfortable with you is because every great entrepreneur in the world is first and foremost a great salesperson. And if they're not, they partner with somebody that is. So Wozniak partner with Steve Jobs, and Jobs is the quintessential salesperson. So you want to excite the investors as well, because the investors know that your business model is going to change materially over the years. They know that. They just want you to change as well, and also you to get potential customers excited. And every time I don't invest in startups anymore, but every time I would meet with a startup in the past, I thought to myself, when that entrepreneur was talking to me, I thought, I'm a customer. Do I feel excited or not about their product? Right? And you get that deep feeling deep inside, that excitement feeling, butterflies, when somebody brings up or pitches a great company in a great way. Maya Angelou had this great quote, which is, people might not remember what you said, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. and watch, again, this is fake, but watch the Oscars, please, speeches, and you'll know what I mean. And it'll help you tremendously in terms of how you communicate with other people in your investor meetings. Okay, you always have to be more passionate, much more passionate. Okay, thanks.